I've lived in New Jersey my entire life, and I know lots of interesting people. Artists, musicians, actors, business owners, and politicians. So my goal is to introduce some of the most interesting people who have ties to New Jersey. Either they live here, they work here, they went to school here, whatever tie I can think of. Many of these people are not well known even in New Jersey, but I'm going to change that because I'm Lucille Losapio, and this is Not So Famous in New Jersey. In part 2 of my conversation with guitarist Glenn Alexander, we talk about a really interesting recording session that he had with Elvis Costello, why he thinks musicians are the most wounded creatures on the planet, and we delve into the subject of how much I can embarrass him. We ended part 1 talking about Stuart Copeland and Levon Helms.
I think there was one session I did do live with Stuart. I got to tell you a funny story, though. First or second time that I was working with Levon, first of all, he knows a gazillion songs. And literally 30 minutes before you were going to play, and he would talk about everything he wanted to do. And I have to tell you that I was petrified because unlike some other people, I didn't grow up playing a lot of that material, in particular, like band tunes and some of those things might be obscure tunes by the band. But man, he would just talk about, okay, and we're going to do this and things from other albums that I didn't have. I never heard some things. So I was pretty petrified. I would take notes and then I would rely. In that case, there were a couple of bass players who did it a lot. So I was relying on those cats. For me, it was tense. And Elvis Costello was standing right next to me. So we start in and Levon calls a tune. And he calls the song and right before it's going, Elvis leans over and he goes, what key is this in? So I go, blah, blah, blah. He goes, what are the chords? I go, it goes C and then blah, 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 and the bridge goes to, And so we start in, so he's playing along, and we get through it. And we go to the second tune. Elvis does the same thing. He leans over, he goes, what key is this in? Blah, blah, blah. What a chord? And we start in. The third tune comes up. First of all, I'm sweating bullets.
Yeah.
I'm standing next to Elvis Costello. And frankly, on that night, Alan Toussaint was playing piano on that night, too. And Levon calls something, and Elvis leans over to me, and he asked me the same question. I looked him square in the eye, I go like, dude, I don't know any of these songs any better than you do, and you're on your own. Save yourself. I have to tell you, one of the people, and I don't think I ever listed him, that I played with was the harp player who played with Muddy Waters, Little Sammy. And that was one of those moments. There have been a few, I guess, where it's just so legendary. I mean, played harp forever with Muddy Waters. Like, I was just, wow. And it was amazing. It was amazing.
We grew up in the same era.
Yeah.
When did you first get interested in music? And I don't mean as a player.
Yeah.
I mean as a kid. What kind of music were you listening to? And are you embarrassed by any of the music that you listen to, like maybe the Cowsills?
I'm not embarrassed by it because I don't think I had an existence like so many people that I've met here on the East Coast, and those are all my music friends and people I work with because I grew up in the middle of friggin' nowhere in Kansas. A little farm community called it Mays, Kansas. So my whole life growing up until I was probably 14 years old, other than some radio stuff, I don't even know I heard it then. We had a station there, KFDI, I will never forget it. It was the top country station. So I only heard country music until about that age. So I didn't even know Ray Charles was a soul singer. I just thought he was a country singer. So, and then I heard some music because my brother maybe turned me on to Blood, Sweat, and Tears and some things. And then I was hooked on radio at that time, which we talked about. My God, it was all just like the greatest rock and roll bands ever. So I loved music, but I never thought of ever of doing it. I love the musicians I meet. They're like, dude, I was 13 years old and my dad took me to a concert and that was it. And I heard someone, or in fact, one of the guys in my vision is going like, I heard the Intermounting Flame record when I was 12 or 13 and, it just blew my mind and I was hooked or whatever. Yeah. I'm going like, we were shooting slingshots and throwing rocks and beating the shit out of each other at 12 and 13.
Tipping over cows.
Exactly. It's like, what? I never had that experience. Yeah. Yeah.
So most of your fans probably know that you're a college professor at Sarah Lawrence College.
Yes.
So what is it you teach? Obviously music, but
Yeah. I mean, I run the jazz and blues department there.
Music theory?
Yeah, I teach jazz theory, jazz history, and I'm changing some of the names of those courses. I used to teach jazz improvisation, but the students aren't that interested anymore, so I'm just going to change it to improvisation and open it up to other things. But yeah, I have blues ensembles and jazz groups and some jazz vocal groups and different things and private students. And,
when you were a kid, did you ever picture yourself as a college professor?
oh, no. Again, Kansas, no one in our entire family had ever gone to college.
Ooh.
And that's what hooked me into jazz. There was a local community college that was starting a jazz program, and I got to tell you, they were just looking for warm bodies. And I'm not kidding. I was a saxophone player, actually. And I got a scholarship to go play and study saxophone. Guitar was a sideline instrument for me, which I really wanted to do, but I was horrible at it and whatever. And so I just went, and then there I got turned on to certain kinds of music, and I did want to play guitar really badly, and I had been working on it, but so I became obsessed with it then.
The music industry has really changed a lot over the last 20 years. Yeah. For a while, it seemed like live music was dead, but now perhaps there's a bit of a renaissance.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a future for live music where musicians will actually be able to make a living?
I don't think so on any local kind of level.
Yeah.
You know, other than, well, that's funny because I just had that discussion with, how can I say, a local level, and then most of those bands turn into touring bands, is to play in a tribute band.
Yeah.
That is becoming the kind of scene of local music, and I don't have any interest in doing that.
Yeah.
I actually won't do it.
Yeah.
I would rather work in my corner deli and make ham sandwiches. I would be much happier.
Well, you know, the sad thing about the music industry is that artists aren't well compensated for the music that they record, right?
No, yeah.
People like Smokey Robinson still have to get out there and tour to make a living.
Yes. Well, I think you're right in that those people made a lot of money at one point, but those days are over.
Yeah. Can you envision any remedy for this? What do you think needs to happen?
I don't know that it will ever come back in the sense of, you know, what it once was. Digital age, which is so cool and we all love it and I love it too. But when it started, the first digital things that happened here were DAT players. The music industry tried to shut it down instead of embracing it because it meant that you could copy music as many times as you wanted and there was no generation loss. That was the only thing that protected us before. And once that happened, the bottom fell out. As you know, there was a period of time even where Spotify, and of course it drives me nuts, the founder of that company, who is a billionaire, as we know, advocated music should be free and no one should have to pay for it. And he fought in court for that and lost. So now it's horrible, but I can't see how it will ever come back to the way it once was, where I made money on my early records. I got checks, you know, everything it got used for, you got paid for. Jingles, they were national, you got residuals and got paid over and over and over and over. Well, when the cable thing started, it started with buyouts. They would be like, there's no residuals on this, you get a flat fee up front. And literally they'd be like, we're paying you $500. And it was like, you had a choice, you take it or leave it. And all the musicians, everybody's starving. If our unions then, if they could have bonded and stuck together.
People don't realize how important unions are. People don't know that the reason you have a 40-hour work week and a weekend is because of unions. The reason that there are child labor laws is because of unions. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, one of the weakest unions out there and on the planet is the musicians union. The vocal, SAG-AFTRA and a bunch of those are much stronger. And how can I say, I'm not laughing, but what I see now with the actors, they were protected for a long time. And now with AI, you see what's going on.
That's why they had that big strike.
Of course.
And they
Same
won.
thing.
Yeah.
But that happened to musicians a long time ago. And once it happened, you got no recourse. That's what I'm saying. When that all started, if the musicians union could have gotten all the musicians to not break and to go, no, do not stand for that kind of pay. Do not take the payouts. You're going to lose money. But everyone's starving and happy to get on sessions. And so.
Well, like, you even look at on the local scene, like musicians today are making the same amount that you made in the 80s.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
and before.
$100 a night.
Yes.
You know, and it's like...
And that's actually... There's some
places that are less.
Yeah, some you're making 75.
And the thing is, it's because so many people are willing to just play for free because they want to get out there.
God, here I go. Now I'm going to launch. Because I've said this so many times. Musicians are maybe the most wounded creatures on the planet. They never get past, oh, Mom, look what I can do. Watch me, Mommy. I swear to God, I just want them to hear I just want to hit them. Here we go. If we would bond together. Okay, so now I'll tell. I know when that started in New York City. It started with one club, Arlene's Grocery. That club is still there, and I'll never forget it. Up to that point, clubs paid money. You either got door money, and there was an agreement on promotion, or you got a flat fee. Well, they started that thing of like, when somebody told me, they go like, no, there's no cover charge. I'm going like, okay, but are you getting a fee? No, you don't get paid. When you finish your set, you pass the hat. You beg for your money. I was livid at that time with music. I was like, don't do that. And guess what?
There's always somebody that's willing to do it.
And they started that. And then the bitter end of all clubs. I played the bitter end in the 80s with Chico Hamilton. You would play there 5 nights a week, double shows on Saturday, and they were big names, and you made money. And now you're there it's 6 bands a night and everybody plays their set.
And then pass the hat. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I don't know.
So you have some really interesting stories.
Oh, God.
And you probably even have some embarrassing ones.
I'm sure I do.
Why don't you share one of those embarrassing stories? Like, for example, have you ever showed up for a gig and been totally unprepared?
That has happened, maybe worse. Of all gigs, the Mahavishnu Project. This is unbelievable. I showed up for a gig that was, I want to say it was at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from my house. And I got there and I had no guitar. Now, you almost could, another instrument, but it's like that gig is guitar. The guitar is the instrument. And, people said, you can play my guitar. I was like, no, I can't do that. This is unbelievable. Of course, I had gotten there early for sound check, so I said, all right, I'm going back home. I drove back home. I got my guitar. I came back to the gig. People were pissed. The band was pissed. Oh, everyone was so mad at me because we started hours late. So that was one of those moments.
One night, Gary and I, remember Club Benet?
Oh, yes.
So Gary and I went there. Dennis Chambers was playing.
Yeah.
I fell asleep. He threw his drumstick at me.
Oh, my God.
He missed.
Yeah.
I really hope to meet him someday and say, Dennis, if you were better, I wouldn't have fallen asleep.
That's too funny. Oh, my God.
Since you are a singer, and I like to ask singers to do a song with me.
Oh, no.
So, what can we do?
Oh, God.
Let's find a song that we can sing together.
Whoa,
do you know
God.
anything from Funny Girl?
No, not at all. I do like old songs, some Van Morrison songs, and
Moondance.
You could sing that, but Araya sings that on the gig, so I could never sing that.
Oh, okay.
I could play guitar and you sing it. How about if we do that? Got an acoustic guitar.
I need you to sing with me.
Oh, God, yeah, this is hilarious.
Okay, I got one. Take It Easy by the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because I am a guitar player who sings a little bit.
I know.
I'll follow you.
Ready?
Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna stone me, 1 says she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy.
That's about as good as it's going to get for me.
Now, people have a really personal connection to music. They have their personal feelings about it, and they feel connected to musicians and singers.
Yeah.
So tell me what your personal connection to music is. What does it do for you?
I've always been pretty introverted and not really good socially. When I was younger, it was really terrible. And so just the act of sitting forever and playing music by yourself, that solitary time, it's like essential to my existence. If I don't get that, I just start to lose my mind. I don't think there's anything profound there for me. And it's a huge part of what I do, but I think that's probably the most valuable part of it. The thing of getting up in front of people, I got to tell you, Southside is not good socially, and yet he can get up there and do that. I don't know. God. Yeah, I'm not good with people. And I mean, I like people in small situations, really great. And Southside's like that too, but oh God, I will avoid going out to a bar or a party or anything. I just oh God, no.
But, Gary's like that. Gary always doesn't want to go to events. I have to fight him.
Yeah.
And then we're always the last ones to leave because can we leave? And he's talking
to people.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I think that happens to me too. You've somebody there and you connect or something. But yeah, I think that's another thing. Wow, that's interesting you say that, because I feel like when you do music all the time, first of all, the last thing I want to do is leave the house. And then, the thought of a bunch of people. Like somebody said to me, the big festival in Asbury Park.
Oh, yeah.
Danny Clinch and I know Danny and people who work with him, and they're like, dude, you got to come. And I'm like, I know, I can't do that. I cannot possibly.
Do you like going to concerts?
I don't really go anymore.
Yeah. I love George Benson.
Oh, yeah.
I love
too.
George Benson. I've got to see Benson every year. And then he got rid of his horn section.
Oh,
wow.
And
that pissed me off.
Oh, yeah.
Because having to watch, what's his bass player's name?
Well, he's had different ones. Stanley Banks did it for...
Banks.
Yeah.
He's so annoying.
Yeah.
He's so... and there's nobody else to look at on stage.
Yeah. First of all, I realize all these huge stars now often play much smaller venues because their day's gone.
Yeah.
But you got to tell me George Benson can't afford to carry a horn section?
I know, and I love that.
I carry a horn section. Christ, Southside carries a horn section.
Line Drive had a horn
exactly.
section.
See, that always bugs me. First of all, how much more money do you need to make? Because I guarantee you, man, that cat made.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a huge George Benson, long before Breezin' even. I had every record that he had out because he's, to be honest, one of the greatest jazz guitar players that walked the planet. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I was actually down in Olive Branch, Mississippi for training. I worked at FedEx. The bar closed at 11 in the hotel, and it was like, oh God, there's nothing to do. We were there for like 2 weeks. Two of the bartenders, they had tickets to Van Halen. They couldn't go.
Wow.
So we bought. Oh, good. We bought them. It was at the Memphis Coliseum or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So here's David Lee Roth. And the women of Memphis who are above average. And they're all going, yeah. I'm like, that's a compliment.
You know, back in the day, of course, in that time, he would say such outrageous things that I don't know that you would hear that today. I got to tell you, though, that Van Halen, I saw them twice in my life, and I didn't want to go because, I mean, I loved those records, but it was 1984, I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I was into other music and doing other things. But I had a couple of students that were young. They were like 12 or 13 or something, and they wanted to go, and their parents didn't want to take them. And so they said, look, please, we'll pay you and give you a ticket. Would you go with them? I went, and man, wow. It did blow my mind.
Yeah.
I went 2 nights in a row. I think the first night I went, I was really blown away. Eddie Van Halen, my God. Not that it took anything away, but the second night I went back and everything was exactly the same. There was no improv, even in David Lee Roth's banter, and every note that Eddie Van Halen played, it was exactly the same.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah, so it was rehearsed to the death, but I mean, it was still extraordinary, and it wasn't a crazy show. But yeah, I remember thinking, oh, well, okay, they spent a lot of time rehearsing this stuff, even though it was amazing. It kind of blew my mind. Yeah.
Now, my brother Vincent, he was just telling me he got tickets to see the Stones. And it reminded me of back in, it had to be in the 70s. He had gone to see them in JFK Stadium in Philadelphia. It's not even there anymore. And phone ring, and it's Vincent. It's a collect call from Vincent. I can't find my way home. I'm lost. He must have called like 8 times.
Oh, my God.
My mother had to call. She had to call the state police. And he said, like...
What happened?
The state police, like, find him, and they go, are you Vincent? And she goes, your mother sent us.
Oh,
follow us. We'll show you the way.
Oh, my God. Oh, my... And how old was he at that?
Oh, yeah, he was in his 20s.
Oh, my God. Wow.
It's like, I think he was high.
Yeah, that can happen.
I think by the end of the night, he wasn't high anymore. I mean, he's calling home, like, desperate. I'm just not going to come home. I'm lost.
I've been in that situation where you're so high you don't know where you are and how you're going to get home.
So let's see. I think I have my last question.
Okay. Oh, thank God. I hope this isn't terribly boring for...
No, this is very, very interesting.
Yeah. At least Lucille's rolling her eyes.
So, okay. What's your relationship status right now? I mean, you're not married, right?
I am not married. And
are you on the scene? Do you use dating apps?
I don't even know what that is. I think I would say, for the most part, that I'm single. I was married for 23 years, got a divorce. That was 17 or 18 years ago. I can't remember.
Are you too old to appeal to the groupies now?
That doesn't, at my age, that doesn't exist. I think it fell off a long time ago because, it used to be, when I was, if you were even to think of a guitar player, now it's like, fucking guitar player. What, are you kidding? Cats make no money. They're degenerates. So there's, that appeal that ship has sailed a long time ago. And I don't know. I've been pretty single this whole time. I mean, there have been people in and out, and I had someone I was dating for about a year and a half, and that went belly up. And
so you're okay, ladies. He's available.
I am.
Get in touch with me if you want to get hooked up with.
An aging guitar player.
But he is younger than me, so that's in your favor.
I mean, I have some. How can I say though? I have some. I wouldn't say that we're in a relationship, but they're female and they're really good friends, and we go places and do things. I don't know that.
Sometimes that's better.
Well, I got to tell you, after my last go around, which I was deep into, and it's a long story. It was a long distance relationship with a person who was in Florida. It turned out to be like just fucking insane and abusive for me. And I was really trying to make that happen and flying there every month, once a month, staying in hotel rooms, all this stuff, spending money. And I don't know. I think at this point, I'm over it. I'm over the whole thing. And even, how can I say, so with my people that I see now, I've just told them, I'm like, we're not having sex. We're not going down that road. Because I swear to God, every time you have what seems like a pretty cool relationship, friendship, and you go down that road, it either one or two things happen. It either really works and goes somewhere, or it just tanks and your
friendship is gone.
Yeah. So I don't even, when I've had that discussion, I'm like, I just don't want to ruin a perfectly good friendship. And I don't, at this point in my life, really, I don't really need the sex. I think I've done that one probably enough. I mean, I'm not saying, because there's nothing better. I got it, but it's not like I need that. I'm looking to be out doing that. I don't need that. If it happens, okay, great.
Now, of course, I'm married. You know what I really love to do? My sister thinks I'm weird. I love to look up my old boyfriends.
Wow, that's interesting.
I love it when they're not real happy. No. I love it that you always have somebody in your past. Oh, this was the one,
Yeah.
And then you see him again. You're like, no, he's not.
Well,
No,
my thoughts about that are, there were two in my early part of my life that I thought were the ones, and I remember when those relationships ended, I was devastated. Like,
oh yeah.
And then I have to share with you, which maybe that's what you're saying. It wasn't maybe even that many. It was a few years later, and I look back and I think, oh my God, I'm so glad that ended. If that had ended, my life would be very different, and I like my life now.
And what happens sometimes is like you remember this was the one, it was great, like it ended, it devastated me, and you think, oh, if I saw him again, I don't know. And then I pull out my diary and I start reading. Oh yeah, it was great for 6 months. And the next year was shit.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we can tend to want to remember the good things.
The best, yeah.
And in the end, I think everything happens for a reason. I think that I'm into that. I'm also into just one day, 1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And things are, I really do. I think things are meant to be. I don't ever look back, the nostalgia, and think, oh, that one, I shouldn't have let that one go, that relationship, whatever. It just is what it is, and you just keep moving.
Well, I think you're a cool cat.
I got the seal
of Lucille.
I got the seal of Lucille. The seal of approval from Lucille. I'll take it.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for being here.
Lucille, and thanks for making me just embarrass myself and sing horribly with you.
But at least I didn't make you talk about you-know-who.
Oh, thank you. You spared me. Thank you. Now everyone's going to wonder, who is that?
I know.
Where else can you hear scintillating conversations with interesting people with ties to New Jersey, except for here? You can't, and that's why you should subscribe and listen to every episode. I'm Lucille Osapio, and this is Not So Famous in New Jersey.